sports teams have a voice in their community unlike any other, and it's my belief that they can and should use it to make their community a better place. Soccer's tapped into the millennial generation unlike any other sport, and it uses their method of communication, social media, to great effect. At Orlando City, across all our platforms, we have about 1.5 million followers. But if we add in superstars like Kaká and Alex Morgan, that number rises to 65 million, which gives us a very unique platform to get a message out both nationally and internationally. When I came to Orlando in 2011, there'd been a history of failure for sports teams. We were told this will never work. So we not only had to make this community aware that there was a new team in town, but we also had to persuade them to come to Camping World Stadium, a 62,500 seat stadium built for football, the other kind. So what did we do? Well, the first thing we did, community is the pillar of this club. And so we sent our players out into the community. We went to events, we went to youth clubs, we went to hospitals, and we made them very accessible to this community. We also involved our supporters in every single thing that we did. And social media became a really kind of marketing tool for us. And our VP of marketing had this great idea that we did not realize was going to take off quite in the way that it did. We made it difficult to obtain an Orlando City magnet. You could only get them on Magnet Monday. And of course, everyone wanted one. And so it became this incredible success story. And now you see them not just in Central Florida. I mean, we get pictures from abroad with people with them on their vehicles. The other thing we did was when we were awarded the Major League Soccer franchise, the normal idea is that you have a press conference in a hotel somewhere. But that's not who we are. We wanted to involve our fans, and we wanted a party. So we closed off part of Church Street. We managed to cram 1,700 people into the venue. And then we had 4,000 people partying outside with purple beer for quite a long time, actually, as well. Similarly, when we were about to break ground on our new stadium, we closed down part of the street again, and our supporters came and we marched. So we had flags, banners, drums, smoke flares, and we marched from downtown to the site of the new stadium. We had special hand-painted shovels that we broke ground with, but we'd also shipped in 25 tons of purple sand. So anyone who was there that day managed to take home a special Orlando City container with a memento of the day. As part of being awarded the franchise, Major League Soccer stipulated that we had to have a downtown stadium. And it was going to be a public-private partnership, which is kind of the norm in all of these things. And we needed 20 million in tourist tax dollars from the county. So it had to obviously go to a vote. So we decided we would galvanize our supporters. So we chose a different commissioner each day. We knew the mayor was on board, but we had to get 4 of the other 6 commissioners to also vote yes. So we chose a commissioner each day, and we asked our fans to call them, email them, go in person, tell them why the stadium was so important, which they did. And then on the day of the actual vote, we also galvanized the fans again, and we said, please come to the council chambers and give actual public testimony. Did they come? They came in huge numbers, the sea of purple. We took over the whole of the council. We were even in the cafeteria. There was so many people there. It was just amazing to see. It was our support groups, Iron Lion Firm, it was the Ruckus, it was soccer families, it was businesses, non-profits that we'd worked with. It was obviously our staff, our players, everyone was there. The main council chamber was just this, it was packed to the rafters. There was people standing all around the back. And we found out afterwards 200 people had registered to speak for 2 minutes. Pretty incredible. It was so loud and noisy in there as well. The people had got scarves and people were chanting and yelling. In fact, at one point we were asked, instead of cheering every single time, could we do a little silent? It's pretty funny to see, actually, a whole audience just doing this little quiet fist pump. So after 2 hours, the mayor called a recess, and she implored us to call off the fans. So we tried, but they were determined to have their say. And it was honestly one of the most incredible outpouring of fan loyalty that I've ever seen. And they really believed that they could affect the result and that this was something they could do for their club. So 3 hours later, and by this time, by the way, we were passing candy up and down the rows to try and keep everyone's energy levels up. We'd been there a long time. People were flagging. But it came to the vote, and we did get the vote. It was 5-2 against. And so afterwards, of course, spontaneous parties broke out all over Orlando. And we went and visited with the fans in one of the pubs. And when I was talking to them, what they were saying was, if that vote hadn't gone through and I hadn't spoken, I would have never forgiven myself. So it was all of that kind of community outreach came back to us in kind of with interest. So after that, various funding things happened that meant it was going to drag on and on and on. And so our majority owner took a very brave decision, and he decided to fund the stadium privately. It's just pretty unheard of in the sports world. But it was great for us because it meant it was our stadium, and we had autonomy and we could do what we wanted with our stadium. And what's now happened has also meant it kind of toned down any of the objections that there were to the site of the stadium. And in fact, what it's done is it's given growth and rejuvenation to that area. It's an underserved area. Our two colleges are coming in, UCF and Valencia. They're building a downtown campus. There's a new school in the area. There hasn't been one there for 50 years, and that opens this fall. And there's also at least $1 billion in other projects that are going to come to that area. So what are we doing with this voice that we have? Well, the first thing we do is we use our foundation to improve the health and wellness of our community, especially in those underserved areas where childhood obesity and all of its knock-on effects are prevalent. We build safe places to play. They're size of a tennis court, purple, of course. They're mini pitches. And then we bring our programming there as well. And it teaches not only soccer skills, it teaches those healthy lifestyle choices too. We also invest in community gardens, so residents are actually able to grow their own fresh food. And we use our players to reinforce all of those healthy messages. We bring them into our programs to help those children. But more than that, we've become an advocate for equal rights. It's something that's become very important to us. We've had a Pride Night every year at our stadium, but we've also funded the Pride Parade. I think there was 50,000 people there last year. And we've gotten involved in LGBTQ organizations. And our response to the Pulse tragedy in 2016 was to provide an avenue to begin that healing process. We honored the victims' families, the first responders, the Pulse staff. We had a game 6 days after the tragedy had happened. And so this was an opportunity for our community to come together. So we had everyone down on the field. We actually put 49 rainbow balloons up in one of the stands to represent those taken from us. The players came out to All You Need Is Love, not the usual anthem. And we stopped the game in the 49th minute, which is something for a moment's silence, which is something that's never been done before. And our fans were incredible. They made signs and banners, thousands of rainbow flags. I don't think I've ever seen so many. And they actually managed to organize the stadium into a rainbow itself, where each section was a different color, which was such an amazing thing to see. And since then, we've obviously memorialized the 49 in our new stadium. We have 49 rainbow seats in one of the stands. We also designed a T-shirt that had a rainbow heart on the front with the hashtag Orlando United, and that raised over $500,000 for the One Orlando Fund. And we also have received awards for our response to Pulse, including the ESPN Inspire Award. It's given to people and teams who take a risk and who use their position in sports to help the disadvantaged. It actually came with a $100,000 check, which we're going to give back to the nonprofits that are still working with those affected by Pulse. We will continue to be a champion and a voice for those oppressed and marginalized communities, and we hope that you will join us. Thank you.